Today we're going to be tying up a very simple, basic lock style pattern called the Bibio. A fly that will work well for salmon, sea trout and brown trout. Okay, so we're using black thread and there's not many two materials to this. There's no tag as such, so we're just going to add on silver for our rib. You could use silver oval, you could use silver wires and tie it up to yourself. I'm going to just tuck this in underneath. And I'll just continue to secure that up, and I always pick halfway between the barb and the hook point to start my fly. Okay, I'm just going to continue adding a wee bit more thread on just to darken up that body a bit. Okay, there's no tail for the fly, so it's very simple. Okay, now what I've done is I've left a small gap between the very end of the shank where my thread is, and that's for the dubbing. Okay, so I'm going to use two different colours. I'm going to do it in 3 lots. So I'm going to use black dubbing. Okay, and don't be using too much. It's very tempted to use too much, but then you end up putting it all off anyway. Okay, and just twist this on in the same direction. Okay, and you'll see that I left a gap between the end of the shank. That's because I want to go back to the very end of the shank, which will really anchor in that dubbing. Okay, then we'll just tie on, maybe twist the dubbing every few turns, just to make sure it remains fairly tight. Okay, and then once you get about a third up the shank, we'll change over and we're going to use our red fur. Okay. Like a fiery red actually, so a nice colour. And again we just twist that on the same direction. Okay, and then as before we're doing about a third of the body. Okay, then we'll go back to our black, which will be the final part. I sometimes wet my fingers whenever I'm doing the dubbing, just to get a bit of a better grip off the fur. Okay, now everything going forward, we just sweep that back. And just a few turns in front to secure it. Okay, and we've left plenty of space there for some hackles. So we've got 2 hackles for this fly. The first one's going to be a palmered body hackle. So what we'll do is we'll remove the fluff off the base of the feather. Always tie on wax, and then we're going to tie in at the butt of the feather end. So normally I would tie in at the tip. For this kind of fly I would tie in at the end. Okay, use your hackle pliers, and then what we're going to do is we're going to do 2 turns at the front first of all. 1, 2, and then maybe 4 turns down the body. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, then what we're going to do is we're going to come up, and the opposite direction of the hackle we're going to tie in our rib. So I'm going to do about 4 or 5 turns of that. 3, 4, 5, and then we'll secure that in underneath. 3 or 4 turns. If you want, it's entirely up to yourself, but you could get a bit of Velcro and really pull out that dubbing, but I'm happy enough the way that's sitting, so I'm going to leave it. Then I'm going to put my scissors in, closed as I go in, and then just open at the very end, and that's going to remove that tip. Then I'm going to remove my excess here, and again from a ribbon as well. And that will fish well itself as is, but one last thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to add on quite a larger draping hackle at the front. So this will be tied at the tip this time. So at the tip end, so I'm going to just remove the tip there, expose a few fibres, and again wax my thread. Then tie in at that break, bring back the fibres, secure it in, and this will give me plenty of space to give a very bushy front hackle Ideal for a bob fly. I'm just using the scissors to start to train the fibres to point inwards, and then we can start sweeping and touching turns to be tying the stalk on top of itself. Okay, and again, if you wanted to use this lower down, maybe in a mid dropper or even at the point, you could dress it lightly. It's entirely up to yourself. Okay. And once you're happy with it, just secure that in. Because there's no jungle cock or anything in this fly, I'm just going to forward this, bring this to the eye, and then bring it back again. It'll give me a more secure hold, but it's because I have so much space to play with the head here. If you wanted, you could add jungle cock. Some people do, and it's called a jungle Bibio. But for that, it's quite a drab fly, but that's the whole point. I think we'll just leave it as is. Start building up your head at the same time, whipping your whip finish knot on. And then once you're finished, that is your Bibio. So very good all round fly. It's a loch fly, but I know people have fished for it in the rivers as well. Again, for sea trout and salmon. So worth having in the box, folks. Hopefully you enjoyed that video, and if you did, please check out the other videos coming up on screen now. Until next time, thanks very much. All the best.